Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I welcome all of you to His Holiness Candramauli Swami daily call on very beautiful Sunday morning, afternoon or evening your time. We are continuing on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10th, verse 24, which is Lord Krishna departure to sorry, I missed that. Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj, I will share this screen from 1.10.24. I hope, is that okay?
Today being the Ekadasi, of course it's Ekadasi in Europe and in India and America. I was going to speak on the holy name, so let's go to another verse.
Sure, Maharaj.
6th canto, 3rd chapter, verse 24. Sixth canto, 3rd chapter, verse number 22.
22, okay.
I'm going to do a few verses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.22. Etavam eva lokesmin pumsam dharmam parasmitaha bhakti yogo bhagavati tam nama grahanari bihi. Translation. Devotional service beginning with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the ultimate religious principle for the living entity in human society. So in this verse, this is a verse spoken by Maharaj to his followers, the Yamadutas. Panchakalpatarubhischa kripasindhubheva jatitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Mam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Desatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So after the Yamadutas came back thwarted from taking an Ajamil to Yamaraj, and they were being baffled. Now he is speaking to them, Yamaraj, about why they were baffled. And he was describing that devotional service. Out of all the activities in human society, devotional service is the essence, because only by devotional service can one elevate themselves to the perfection of life, or to the purpose of life, which is to develop our loving relationship with the Supreme Lord, which lies dormant within the hearts of all living entities. So here, after explaining the essence, he also explains the essence of the essence. And therefore, devotional service comprises many types of activities. There's nine angas: hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, remembering Krishna, serving Krishna, worshiping Krishna, offering prayers to Krishna, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, becoming a friend to the Lord, and ultimately surrendering everything to the Lord. These 9 processes are the essence or the complete makeup of the bhakti process. And the most important one, and the one that's emphasized here, is to chant the glories of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The devotional service in every age has a particular emphasis for the living entity to achieve self-realization. So in this age, it is chanting the glories of the Lord, specifically the 16 names, 32 syllables of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra has been given by the Lord himself. So this chanting is actually the Yuga Dharma, the means of self-realization in this age. So when Srila Prabhupada was asked, what is your most important instruction to your devotees? He said that to chant 16 rounds on beads every day without fail is my most important instructions to my devotees. Now we can see the emphasis is that this chanting, although it seems to be quite simple, it is not so simple, in the sense that one should be in sound mind, and one should also be able to perform the other activities of devotional service, which are supportive of the ultimate goal, which is to develop love for Krishna. And one has to follow all of the principles of devotional service and chant the holy names of the Lord, which is the essence of that devotional service. This chanting purifies the heart, awakens awakens realization of Krishna within the mind, and pushes back the effects of the material energy. In any condition of life, one should chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And those who have taken vows in front of the spiritual master, the fire, and the assembly of the Vaishnavas, and the Lord himself, they should carefully chant their 16 rounds every day and follow the principles. And that way they will always be free from the effects of the Kali Yuga. They follow that principle very carefully and regularly. This chanting awakens happiness within the heart, and when it's accompanied with other devotees, it becomes kirtan. Kirtan comes from the word kirti, which means to spread the fame of the Lord. So when you're chanting, you're actually glorifying the all famous Lord. And those who chant the holy names also become famous because they are being connected with the all famous Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this chanting is the essential principle of Krishna consciousness. And sometimes one may neglect some of the other processes, but one cannot neglect the chanting in respect to make advancement in spiritual life, particularly under the guidance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers, Srila Prabhupada. This has been given an absolute principle of, so one should carefully and regularly chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. On these Ekadasi days, it's recommended that one increase the quality or quantity of their chanting by chanting extra rounds on these days, as Ekadasi is simply geared for an extra austerity, and that austerity comes in the form of chanting more rounds on this day. But in any case, one has to seriously and regularly chant the holy names of the Lord. Make due course, make enough time for chanting, and at the same time chant in kirtan in the temple or in the streets with other devotees. One cannot neglect kirtan and simply chant japa. One should do both, because both are the Yuga Dharma, and Lord Chaitanya has emphasized kirtan as being the essence of all of these spiritual practices. Okay, let's go to the next verse. My dear servants, who are as good as my sons, just see how glorious is the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. The greatly sinful Ajamil chanted only to call his son, not knowing that he was chanting the Lord's holy name. Nevertheless, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, he remembered Narayan, and thus he was immediately saved from the ropes of death. You hear how powerful. He was about to be dragged away and punished severely, but simply by what is called unconsciously chanting the name of Narayan, he chanted what is known as Nama Bas, reflection of the perfect name. He was able to reduce and eliminate all of the reactions of his sinful activity simply by this unconscious chanting. This is to show the power of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Go down the page a little bit. As it says here, to further illustrate this, there's no need to conduct research into the chanting of the holy name. The history of Ajamil is the actual evidence of that. So Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Kevalam Kalona, Stavana Stage of. So in this age, difficult to perform austerities. But everyone is recommended to perform the yajna, Sankirtan yajna, chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, bringing together their friends, family members, and others, and chanting and dancing with them. And there one will become happy in Krishna consciousness, and one at the same time will make advancement in love of God. And this is the power of Krishna's holy name. It's very merciful. It's the when we speak about Krishna, we speak about his mercy upon the fallen conditioned souls in this age, which takes different forms. And here is the essential mercy manifestation, his holy name, simply by chanting his holy name. And seriously, sometimes devotees think I've been chanting for so many years and I'm not making any progress. The fact that you're still engaged in devotional service and that you're still chanting indicates you are making progress. We don't know how contaminating this age of Kali is. It's quite contaminating. It's so dirty that you can't even believe it. Even within the circle of Vaishnavas, you find so many anomalies and sinful activities going on. Just to show you how bad this age of Kali is. Kalir Dosha Nidhi Rajan. It's an ocean of faults. There are so many problems, so many faults, so many difficulties. Everywhere you turn, there is something coming up from the lower modes of ignorance and passion to disturb the devotee's life and mind. But this chanting of the holy name of the Lord pushes back this wave of contamination which is pervading the entire world. Wars, pestilence, envy, enmity, selfishness, cheating, lying, violence. Everywhere you find that. It is everywhere. It's just the way this age of Kali is. It's just such a bad age. We have to understand that there's nothing good in this age except two things: the association of devotees and the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. When you know these two things, you can center your life around these two things, then everything in the chanting of the holy name will push back the effects of this age. So one should seriously and every day chant this holy name of the Lord. And the power of the holy name has been illustrated in this pastime of Jamya. The next verse, it says here, translation. Therefore, it should be understood that one can easily be relieved from all sinful reactions by chanting the holy name of the Lord and chanting of his qualities and activities. This is the only, and the word only is there, process recommended for relief for sinful reactions. Even if one chants the holy name of the Lord with improper pronunciation, he will achieve relief from material bondage if he chants without offenses. Ajamil, for example, was extremely sinful. While dying, he merely chanted the holy name, although calling his son, he achieved complete liberation because he remembered the name of Narayan. So here's an example that's given in the purport where Srila Haridas Thakur was glorifying the holy name of the Lord, and one Smarta Brahmin from Mayavadi started to criticize Srila Haridas, saying, how can you say that simply by chanting these 16 names one can reach liberation? When the Shastras talk about how difficult it is to achieve liberation, he said, you are actually becoming pretentious and frivolous in making such statements. Therefore, I challenge you. And Haridas Thakur remained somewhat undisturbed by this person, and explained that, yes, the chanting of the holy name is so powerful that even once unconsciously chanting the holy names of the Lord, one can push back all of the effects of Kali Yuga and be free from all the reactions of sinful activities. And so that was proven, and this person got a reaction for offending Srila Haridas Thakur. So Prabhupada here says, even if one chants the holy name of the Lord always with great devotion in the evening and the morning, one can become free from all material miseries. Now, there are so many material miseries, we all know that. One should always chant and hear about the extraordinary activity. One should meditate upon these activities. So the great souls, the acharyas, they recommend this chanting above every other form of that spiritual activity. So one should practice that. It's nice to chant in the association with other devotees and get inspired by that. And that inspiration will fan itself out into other areas of our Krishna consciousness. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Snapa param param vijayate si Krishna sankirtana. All of one's life, everything in relationship to one's activities and one's life itself, their personal property and everything in connecting with them also becomes purified by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. One cannot overestimate the glories of the Lord. One can only underestimate the glories of the Lord. And we have so many examples. If one gives up the chanting of the holy name of the Lord because it appears to be difficult, one will be throwing their spiritual life away and again will be affected by the material energy in a very severe way. So even though it may be hard, sometimes we're sick or sometimes we're tired, or sometimes there's other reasons, and we have it difficult to chant. But one can still chant softly and carefully. If one is too sick, one can chant within the mind. But somehow or other, one has to continue to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Today being the Ekadasi, there's emphasis on chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we're trying to increase the quality and quantity of our chanting in every opportunity we get. And you'll see, Srila Haridas Thakur is known as Sri Namacharya, and he chanted 333,333 names of God every day. In the morning, evening, and afternoon, he continuously chanted the holy names of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya called him the crest jewel upon the world. He was because he came and was empowered to chant the holy names of the Lord, to show the glories of the holy name beyond all of the other activities. And because of that, Lord Chaitanya gave him the position of Namacharya, and one who teaches the example of how important it is to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So one can chant anytime, anywhere, any place. One should chant even without beads, just like the principle of devotional service is to try to remember Krishna 24 hours a day. So one may be doing other things, and one can also chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. One may be going shopping, one will be preparing lunch, or one may be doing some work around the house or outside. One can always chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We chant a prescribed number on the beads, but beyond that, as Prabhupada said, 16 rounds on beads, innumerable rounds off the beads. So it's not like we should relegate our chanting just to our particular prescribed duty. One should be always chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 24 hours a day. And that way one is always in contact with the spiritual energy in Krishna. And even though one may be undergoing a little bit of difficulty because of physical and mental sickness or some difficulties that come by way of the association in this age, still one will be free from the severe effects of such things. And Krishna will gradually protect the devotee when one chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra always. In Bengal, there's a saying, let's see, and what is that? Let me think of that saying. Muke bolo hari, hate koro kaje. Muke bolo hari. Hate koro kaje means work with your hands. Muke bolo hari means with your mouth, always chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So you can chant anytime, any place, anywhere. It's recommended. One might think, well, I have so many things to get done. If I be chanting all the time, I won't be paying attention to what I'm doing. That is a false experience and has been proven to be false, is that even whatever you're doing, if you're chanting, you'll always be able to do whatever you're doing, and you'll be able to do it in the nicest possible way. You remember Krishna always, especially in his holy name. And so when one chants, one should make sure they chant clearly. Srila Prabhupada emphasizes that in the mantra, in the pronunciation of the mantra must be done correctly and not be in a hurry and push all the words together very fastly, and there is no clear sound of the mantra. One should chant clearly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One can chant fastly. It doesn't mean one has to chant slow. One can chant clearly, but even if it takes slow chanting to get clear chanting, then that should be done. And as one chants clearly, and one can gradually will be able to pick up the speed of their chanting, and still they'll be able to chant fast too. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. You can still chant fast and clear if we practice chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day, and make it like an artistic design. It's like when you want to paint a picture, and you get your easel, you get your paints, you get your sitting place, you get everything you need, and then you gradually begin to carefully frame the picture that you're about to paint. So in the same way, find yourself a nice place in the morning that is free from all of the disturbances. Sit properly, and if you decide to walk, you can also do that. But generally start off in a sitting position and start chanting clearly and nicely. And even if the mind decides to go somewhere else, bring the mind back. Wherever the mind goes, due to its unsteady and flickering nature, one should bring it back under the control of the self. Never become discouraged if the mind goes to other places and other thoughts come. Just recognize that and then bring it back to the sound of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Practice that more and more, and you'll find that your chanting will also become stronger and stronger as you deal with the restless mind by keeping contact with that sound vibration. By hearing clearly, like chanting clearly and hearing nicely, then concentration becomes easier. If we don't chant rhythmically or regularly, or we go in and out of the chanting, it becomes harder to concentrate. So stay with the chanting, and then after some time, you'll become more and more absorbed in the chanting. It'll be just you and the holy name, and it becomes a very wonderful experience, just chanting more and more and more. So practice this chanting. It is the means. We're trying to solve so many problems in our life. We have this problem, we have that problem, we have the wife problem, we have the husband problem, we have the kids problem, we have the boss problem, we have our neighbor's problem, we have problems with people in general, we have problems with the government, we have problems from the medical societies. We have so many problems, so don't worry about them. Just push them out of your mind and simply chant the holy names of the Lord. Gradually, all of these problems will start to reduce in intensity, and then chanting of Krishna's holy name will become your source of happiness and ultimately elevation to the platform of love of God. Go to the next verse. Now this is now interesting Because they are bewildered by the illusionary energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yagyavokya and Jamini and other compilers of religious scriptures cannot know the secret confidential religious system of the 12 Mahajans. They cannot understand the transcendental value of performing devotional service or chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Because their minds are attracted to ritualistic ceremonies mentioned in the Vedas, especially Yajurveda, Sama, and Rigveda, their intelligence has become dull. Thus, they are busy collecting ingredients for ritualistic service that may yield only temporary benefits, such as elevations to Swargaloka from material happiness. They are not attracted to the Sankirtan movement. Instead, they are interested in Dharma, Artha, Karma, and Moksha. Purport. Since one may easily achieve the highest success by chanting the holy name, Lord, one may ask why there are so many Vedic rituals and why people are attracted to them. This verse answers that question. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the real purpose of studying the Vedas is to approach the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Unfortunately, unintelligent persons, bewildered by the grandeur of Vedic yajnas, want to see gorgeous sacrifices performed. They want Vedic mantras chanted and huge amounts of money spent for such ceremonies. Sometimes we have to observe the Vedic ritualistic service to please such unintelligent men. Recently, when we established a large Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan, we were obliged to have Vedic ceremonies enacted by Brahmanas because of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, especially the smarta Brahmanas, could not accept Europeans and Americans as bona fide Brahmins. Thus, we had to engage Brahmanas to perform costly yajnas. In spite of these yajnas, the members of our society performed Sankirtan loudly with mridangas. And I considered the Sankirtan more important than the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Both the ceremonies and the Sankirtan were going on simultaneously. The ceremonies were meant for persons interested in Vedic rituals for elevation to the heavenly planets. Jati kritam matir madhu pushpatamyam pushpitayam. Whereas the Sankirtan was meant for the pure devotees interested in pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We would simply have performed Sankirtan, but the inhabitants of Vrindavan would not have taken the installation ceremony seriously. As explained here, the Vedic performances are meant for those whose intelligence has been dulled by the flowery language of the Vedas, which describe fruitive activities intended to elevate one to the higher planets. Especially in this age of Kali, Sankirtan alone is sufficient. If the members of our temples in different parts of the world simply continue Sankirtan before the deity, especially before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they remain perfect. There is no need for any other performance. Nevertheless, to keep oneself clean in habits of mind, deity worship, and other regulative principles are required. Srila Jiva Goswami says that although Sankirtan is sufficient for the perfection of life, the archana, or worship of the deity in the temple, must continue in order that devotees may stay clean and pure. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati therefore recommended that one follow both processes simultaneously. We strictly follow the principles of performing deity worship and Sankirtan along powerful lines. This we should continue. So here, you can install some deities at your home. Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Gaur Nitai. And for those who are very strict in the atmosphere of their house, in other words, there's nothing else going on but devotional activity, they can install Radha Krishna deities there. And also worship there, do regular pujas in the morning and in the evening, offer food to the deities, and chant before the deities the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, bringing the family members together. The family that prays together stays together, and they also support each other in their material and spiritual life nicely. So here, this is the important, and you'll see even great personalities, such as these famous ritualistic compilers of the Vedic scriptures, Yagyavokya and Jamini, and they can't even recognize the glorious And they're so absorbed in ritualistic ceremonies, which look good from the outside, great pomp, great amounts of opulences and decorations, wealth, food distributed. But ultimately, it cannot compare in terms of the purification that one receives by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much for highlighting the need of chanting holy name, because this is one of the key for this age of Kali Yuga. And as you said, it's mandatory to chant 16 rounds on beats, especially for the initiates who have taken vow. But we should all chant properly. It's not just only numbers, just chant properly to remember and please Krishna. That's the purpose. And whatever activity we do in the whole day time, we should keep our mind on remembering Krishna, keep chanting in our mind, because that's the only way we can remember Krishna, and that's the way which will protect us from this Kali age. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Request everybody to please, if you can possible, switch on your video. And if you have any questions, comments.
I believe Arti, she posed a question.
Yes, Maharaj. I'm just like waiting so that other devotees also, like as you mentioned last time, if anybody raise hand, then we can first give priority for them. And then of course I will come to that.
No, take Arti's question. She's eager to.
Okay. Sure, Maharaj. Sure. So her question is, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. In Sankirtan, what is the benefit for that non-devotee who unknowingly chants the holy name of the Lords? Does it have any benefit for them at the time of death, or only in their coming next life? Also, the second question, Maharaj, if someone reads the holy names in their mind, is that the same for the non-devotees as saying it out loud?
Well, I'll answer the second question first. It is recommended by Srila Prabhupada that one should chant audibly where one can hear the sound of the holy name. One should not chant within the mind, although Manasi Japa is also mentioned in the Shastras. Manasi Japa can be performed by devotees who are very elevated, where their minds are completely peaceful and they can absorb themselves in chanting within the mind. I mentioned Manasi Japa for those who sometimes can't perform the external sound vibration because of sickness or illness, which happens sometimes. That is a concession in order to keep the chanting going. But generally, it's chanting and hearing, we have to hear. So even if that hearing is done at a whisper or a murmur, that is considered to be acceptable. And one should not chant silently when one can chant clearly and loudly. And it says by loud chanting of the holy name, ghosts, demons, evil spirits, and various other creatures of that nature immediately run away. If you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In other words, chant nice and loud, you'll purify your whole atmosphere, and all of these lower creatures will run away. That's mentioned. But at least chant so you can hear. For non-devotees, if they hear the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, And that is called Gyata Sukrita, unknowingly doing devotional service. And because it's the power of the holy name that they're connected with, depending on the quality of that sound vibration they hear, they also can be elevated in their Krishna consciousness. And if even it says if they chant once in their life, then they will not have to take birth in any other species of life except, in other words, they can come back in the human form of life and continue. They won't have to sink down. Most people in this age will be sinking down to lower, they will be going down to lower levels of existence because the age is so bad. But because the devotees are so merciful, they go everywhere to where with the holy names. We have Ratha Yachas, we have programs going on in different places. And we even chant in the streets, so many things that go on. If these people hear the holy name and just give some appreciation, even if they don't take part, still they're pretty much guaranteed a human birth in their next life.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radha Bhakti Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, the last line of the report was talking about remaining clean in mind. Would you mind elaborating on that? And specifically, can you talk about how to deal with anger and forgiveness as an example?
Remaining clean in mind is actually translated into developing the qualities of the mode of goodness. The mind becomes contaminated by passion and ignorance, and the mode of goodness, material mode of goodness, although it's material, it elevates the mind, the cleanliness that is needed in order to practice devotional service effectively. Now that's what it's referred to as, in other words, develop those qualities in the mode of goodness as described in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Nectar of Devotion. And that way the lower modes, passion and ignorance, envy, unnecessary anger, enmity, all of these things, because the age of Kali is so contaminated, even devotees fixed in devotional service might find themselves being attacked by these lower modes. But one has to somehow or other restrain themselves from acting on these things and then elevating themselves back to the mode of goodness and continue with their devotional service. So it does happen, yeah. Yeah, this age is so bad. What is it? Kalir Dosha Nidhi Rajan. It's an ocean of faults, and then everywhere. Sinful activity is everywhere. Even in holy places, you find there are people who go to holy places in order to take advantage of other people who go to holy places by taking their money or by attracting women who go to holy places also for purification. So it's such a bad age that sinful activity is everywhere. Modes of passion and ignorance are everywhere. Violence, lying, cheating, fruitive activities, all of these things are the effects of the lower modes, which are so strong, especially in this age of Kali. But the chanting of the holy name is also very powerful, and it's also spreading far and wide. So you have these two energies that are competing with each other for supremacy. Stay in the spiritual energy. When you find yourself becoming envious of others, realize just be happy with the situation you find yourself in. Understand that Krishna loves you, and in whatever situation you are in, it's automatically due to he's either allowed that to happen or he wants it to happen. So in any case, just be satisfied and work. And even if the situation is not agreeable or conducive to the happiness or devotional service, work with that and try to elevate oneself back to the mode of goodness in devotional service. Don't become, what we say, falsely allured by some other situation out there, thinking that if I had that, then I would be better off. Just take shelter of devotional service and depend on Krishna for his mercy.
Thank you, Gurmaj. Sometimes we hear that according to one's varna, one rests in a particular mode. So for example, Kshatriyas in the mode of passion and Vaishyas and Shudras in passion/ignorance. Does that mean it's harder for them to elevate to the mode of goodness? Because we also hear about dovetailing one's nature to Krishna's service. So for example, I can easily talk about like dovetailing mode of passion into devotional service. Can you speak a little bit about that, Gurmaj?
That's why Prabhupada, even today I heard Prabhupada say, unless we establish Varnashram, we won't be able to elevate ourselves beyond a certain point in our devotional practice. So he wanted Daivi Varnashram. But the material world is completely against, or not against, but oblivious to, or have created this a false sense of Varnashram called the caste system. So that's why Krishna mentions that in the Bhagavad Gita, that this Chaturvanya Maya Srishti Guna Karma Vibhaga is necessary in order to establish the Varnas and the Ashramas. Both need to be done in the society. So Prabhupada realized it couldn't be done in the material society, but he wanted to establish it. And it's going on in our spiritual society already. There are devotees who are working in different varnas and engaging in devotional service simultaneously. So that's important for us to, as devotees, to somehow learn what is our particular nature and try to be engaged according to that nature. That's the duty of the spiritual master, to engage people accordingly. He should recommend that they serve in that particular way. And they will make nice progress. So this Varnashram is something that is loosely being done in ISKCON. It's actually being done, but in a loose form. It's not, say, so organized. But once it gets organized, then our society will take off, because the devotees will be able to work according to their nature. Even if they have a passionate nature, it has a particular service connected to them. So the Kshatriyas are protectors, they're managers, like that. And so they can use that nature to serve the Lord in that capacity. They can give protection. Prabhupada says that the Brahmins give education, the Kshatriyas give protection, the Vaishyas give food, and they protect cows also. All of this is required for a stable, wholesome society. So yeah, if we're not working according to our nature, we might be struggling in order to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra properly. Or we might find that our service is not so very satisfying, pleasing.
Thank you, Gurmaj.
Does that help?
Yeah, very much. Thank you.
It's a big topic.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, there is one comment from Bhadra Mataji. It's not a question, but she's saying, Hare Krishna Maharaj, I really like the analogy of getting ready for chanting, same as we are preparing to paint the most beautiful painting. And thank you very much for reminding that even though sometimes we struggle for chanting for mental or physical reasons, Krishna always gradually brings the soul back to him.
Yes, thank you. Who asked that question or made that comment?
Bhadra Mataji.
Oh, Bhadra, okay, thank you. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, that's correct. Krishna is always inclined to help the devotee. As Prabhupada said, you take 2 steps towards Krishna, he takes 10 steps towards you. You have to remember that whatever anarthas and problems you're dealing with are superfluous to you. They have nothing to do with you. Only because of your material desires, you make these things important, but they're actually illusion. Material desires, material activities are all part of the illusionary energy. The soul has nothing to do with any of it. We have a question from Arjuna Acharya.
Prabhu, you are on mute. If you can please.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. And thank you for this wonderful lecture, really inspiring to keep chanting more and more. My question is it recommended or is it okay to chant on another devotee's behalf, or whether they're devotee or non-devotee, is it recommended to chant on their behalf, like donate our chanting? Okay, this round is for this devotee or for this person. Is it a good practice or it's okay?
Depends on the situation. You don't want to, yeah, but generally, yeah, you can pray for other devotees, and that prayer comes in the form of offering, chanting for the benefit of others. That's fine. We usually do that when a person is sick. Mostly, we chant for them when they're sick, or if they're struggling with some material situation and they need some support, we can also offer that. Yeah. We don't want to give them support so they become stronger in their material life.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Guru. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Hare Krishna Maharaj, I have one question while devotee ask any further questions. Maharaj, we say that it looks like very stupid actually in one way, that we feel sometimes that, or like as you mentioned that Prabhupada also and everybody mentioned that 16 rounds we should chant on beats very nicely, very attentively. And then other rounds we can do, like whatever activity we are doing, we should continuously chant. Yeah. So how does that work? And we say that when we are chanting attentively, it means we have invited Krishna. So if we have invited Krishna on our tongue, Krishna energy is there, and we are ignoring Krishna if we are not attentive at that time. But why only we feel like this only for 16 rounds and like not like while we are doing other activity, then that times our mind is not focused. So sorry, I have that.
The injunction is that one should remember Krishna always. So therefore, we recommend that remembrance come in the form of chanting. But if you can put Krishna in your mind in the form of a picture in your mind, just like when you see the deity in the morning, you take a mental snapshot of that deity and keep it in your mind throughout the day or whenever you can remember to. In other words, the injunction is somehow or other remember Krishna. Somehow or other. Yena kena pukarena mana Krishna nivesaya. Somehow or other remember Krishna. So therefore, when we say we can chant and do other things, that's one of the ways to remember Krishna. But you still have to be very serious and very focused on your chanting when you are doing your regular japa. Or even if you decide to do extra japa, in other words, if your beads are in your hand, you should only be doing chanting and nothing else. Well, there's the story. The story is from the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There was one man, he would always chant Hare Krishna all the time, 24 hours a day. And he was absorbed in chanting. So one day he was walking on his way to the latrine. You know, in India, they have the outdoor latrines. So he was going and he was thinking, I'm going into the latrine and I can't take this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra into the latrine. It's such a dirty place. So he grabbed his tongue with his fingers and was holding his tongue because he could not stop chanting. So while he was walking along holding the tongue, one young boy who was 10 years old, his name was Gopal, and he said to the man, "What are you doing while you're holding your tongue?" And then he explained, "Well, I'm on my way to the latrine. The holy name is pure. I don't want to take the holy name into the latrine." And the boy said, "What do you think? The holy name is pure. It never gets contaminated by anything. You can chant anywhere, any place." And so he was so convincing, this 10-year-old boy, to this person, that the man started to let go of his tongue. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there and he was watching the whole scene. He came up to the boy and he said to the boy, "What is your name?" He said, "My name is Gopal." Lord Chaitanya said, "I will give you an additional name. Your name is Gopal Guru. Because you are not only a devotee, but you are also a guru by giving proper instructions about chanting the holy name of the Lord." And then that same Gopal Guru became Gopal Guru Goswami, one of the great acharyas in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, who became the spiritual master of Vakreshwara Pandit. So yeah, there's an example. Perfect example.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. So point is that like two lessons learned from this. One, that when we are chanting on beats, we should be fully attentive, focused, no any other business in mind or from the body. And other than that, we should try to remember Krishna every time. And that means we can chant while we are doing any activity.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Mm-hmm.
Arjun Pandit Prabhu, your hands is still raised. Probably it's just from the previous question, if I'm not wrong. Or you have any other question?
It's
Prabhu?
from the previous question, sorry.
No problem, Prabhu. No problem.
Yeah, hold your question for a minute and I'll be right back. I have
Sure,
someone
sure,
coming
Maharaj. Sure.
through the door here.
So we still have few minutes back, devotees. If you would like to ask any questions, really great opportunity.
You want to listen to the end? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. So
Any other questions?
there is no any other question, Maharaj. We are just like on time, just 1 minute to go. I will just,
Okay. We can end here then.
yeah, devotee, any last question? Like, it's very beautiful topic, holy name, Sankirtan, Yagya. Looks like Maharaj, everybody is busy in chanting because it's Ekadashi already. So they don't want to waste any time. Everybody is chanting and they are probably chanting on beats, so they don't want to get disturbed.
That's inspiring for me. That they can't wait to get to the japa.
It looks like. So thanks,
Okay.
thanks,
Can we
devotees.
not, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Guru Maharaj, can we not do one round of chanting while we are discussing all these things on chanting, please?
One round of chanting, huh?
Yes, please, if possible.
On beats.
On
Mataji,
beats.
yes?
Definitely.
Okay.
Gets you beats
Let
everyone.
me, we'll do one quick round.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. So devotees, pick up your beats. Arti Mataji looks like in ecstasy.
Who's that?
Sorry, Maharaj, I was just saying Arti Mataji looks like in ecstasy. So
Auntie? She's always in ecstasy. She's always happy. Okay. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Kirti, Kirti. Are you there, Kirti, Kirti?
Mataji, she's
Kirti,
there,
Kirti.
but she's on mute.
Yes, Maharaj, I'm here. I go ahead, Maharaj.
Guess who's with me? You won't guess who's with me.
Pardon?
One of your old friends. Can you see him now?
Oh, there. Hi, Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hi, Krishna.
To see you.
Are you here? Nice to see you. Very nice to see you. Hi, Bol. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. He's
Hare
very good.
Krishna.
Because of him, you're a devotee.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to see him. Are you in Mayapur?
No, we're in the Govardhan village.
Uh-huh. I was there last week. Have a good time.
Okay, thank you very much. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj, very much for giving your valuable time on this auspicious day. Thank you very much. And thank you for Sukha Mataji for perfect questions to our request for a holy name from you. So thank you very much for this japa. Thanks,
Thank you.
devotee, for joining this
Thank you
session.
very much.
And Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.